All right, guys. Welcome to another Tuesday night with the Solar Kings. Glad you guys could join us. Looking forward to another good call. Got a few good things on the plate today, so we're going to jump right in. Unless anyone here has anything to say to start off. Eric, you got anything to get us rolling?
Hey, I just want to say I can't wait for May, baby. May is going to be awesome. Everybody on, listen up. We got some really good information tonight, but Houston, thank you so much.
It's going to be another great night, great month, great training tonight. So hopefully we're gonna have a little bit of dialogue tonight. I want tonight's call to be more of a collaboration as we go through some stuff and talk through a few things that are happening. So start off tonight by welcoming any new recruits that we have on the call. So I know Yesenia's a relatively new recruit. She's been with us for a couple of weeks now. I see her on the call. David, I believe you're still pretty new, right?
Somewhat, like 2 months almost.
Okay, my bad. Any new recruits on the call? First time on the call? All right, well, let's move on then. I know we had a few new recruits this week, so for those who are not on the call, make sure we get them plugged into the Facebook group so that they can start to communicate with the rest of the team, and they can see when we're having these types of events, so we can make sure they get on and get the training that's going to help them the most. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. Start out with some recent success stories. This doesn't necessarily relate directly to most of us, but I think it's a huge win for solar. We saw this past week that Governor DeSantis decided to veto the anti-net metering bill in Florida that was really just going to kill net metering in Florida. So huge win for the solar industry as a whole. And I think something that's going to be kind of a dictation to the rest of the country is, hey, this has value. It's not something that we should be running away from. So big win on a nationwide basis there. Next is personal announcement. I finally, after many attempts, closed my 5th and 6th solo deals. C-Ray, my business partner, and I, we've been focusing a lot on mentor deals recently. Finally generated a couple solo deals and got those closed this past week. So as soon as those process through finance, I will be applying to officially become a mentor on the platform as well. I believe, and I forgot to put it on here, but I believe Brian Hernandez, who I don't see on the call yet, but he also closed his 5th sale. So he will be soon applying for mentor status as well. So new mentors left and right, guys. I know a couple of you are getting very close as well. So love to see the success of the team as a whole. And the beautiful thing about this is there's plenty of homes for us all to become mentors. So keep plugging along, keep digging, keep generating those leads, and we're all going to get there one day. So congratulations to everyone there. David can too. So this is why I thought you were brand new, David, because I saw that you had closed your first deal this week. So congratulations on that. Saw you also had a couple people that were supposed to join last night's call. How'd that go?
One joined, and the first deal she actually didn't sign yet. So
stay on them.
Yep.
Awesome. Well done anyway. Keep plugging along and let's get that deal closed so we can get you on the board and get that first M1 paid here as soon as possible. So congratulations there. Next, just kind of almost a funny congratulatory thing, but Eric posted the other day that he ordered his Cybertruck. So he is officially jumping all into the electric world. Eric, you want to talk about that a little bit? How was that process? I think he just jumped off the call. Must have dropped off. So.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, guys. I'm over here at my son's football practice. For anybody that tells me, oh, I can't make it, I got to go here and there, use your Bluetooth. You don't always have to be on video. You don't always have to be speaking, but be on the Bluetooth, know where the information's at. But yeah, I'm excited, Houston. I've been thinking about a new car for a long time. I don't want to get something too flashy, and I didn't want to get something, too expensive or anything like that. I just wanted a new car. And you know what? We're in the renewable energy business, so why not get an electric vehicle? And I think it'll turn some heads, and maybe I can wrap it, put some power on it. We'll see.
So I don't know if I can really go with you on the not too flashy thing. I mean, you literally ordered the most flashy vehicle that I could think of.
Well,
So,
yeah, I'm thinking like $100,000 Mercedes or anything. The Cybertruck's only 60 grand. It's really not.
yeah, they're very reasonable for what they are. So no,
Yeah,
I agree with you. I'm just giving you a hard
yeah,
time.
but for sure, you're right though. It is going to be something new on the block where people are going to be like, wow. But that'll definitely bring some exposure to my business too.
Absolutely, 100%. So well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hopefully they get it built sometime this century. So keep us posted on that. I want to test drive once you get it. But moving on, I know there are so many teammates out there right now, guys, that are hustling. We had a great close to last month as we closed out the Earth Month promo, and we're starting out this month pretty strong. So wanted to give the opportunity for anybody else on the team who's having some success or has seen someone on the team who's had some success to just shout that out and really acknowledge your teammates. We've seen a ton of growth over the past few months and over the last year, and so many people doing good things that it's hard to keep up with sometimes. So I wanted to give that open floor. Jacob, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I'll say something, Houston. Man, that phrase that everybody says all the time, like stick and stay, right? I had some deals that I've been working since I joined and signed on, and it just seemed like forever before install came around. But they're happening now, and they're hitting like back to back. Like one installed last week, and that customer actually he called like right when we were on starting. I don't know if you saw me on the phone, but he called me right there. And then now I have 2 that are installing today. So awesome. 3, installed like back to back, but it's been a while coming. So like, for any of you, I know there's a lot of guys on the call that have been here a lot longer than me, but for those that maybe, haven't been as long as me, man, just stick and stay, man. It's gonna happen. Like, just stay with your customer, check in with them. That's one of the things Eric's told me right away. I was calling one of my customers every week, and he was not the friendliest dude. You know what I mean? Like, but we got it done, and he's installed, it's on his roof. So they're going to happen. Like, just stick and stay, man. And one of the things that I'll never forget, I remember hearing Edgardo say, the first time I ever seen him take the stage, and I heard him say, just keep filling the pipeline. Just keep filling the pipeline. Like, don't get stuck with like, oh, I got deals falling out. I got, customers griping, or, this didn't go through. Like, just keep filling the pipeline, stick and stay, and you'll see the pay,
Yes, sir. Couldn't agree with you more, man. I think that's really the key is if you, as you're going through that time process and waiting for install, if you're really focusing on continuing to build your pipeline, sell new deals, you get to a point where if you've been consistently doing that month in, month out, as those start to install, you've got a consistent flow of installs on top of your new business. And that's really when the money in this business becomes really good. So great to see that you got 3 deals in a week. Congratulations on that. Make sure you're out there still selling new paper though, and getting new customers involved, so that 2 or 3 months down the road, that's still coming for you.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, is like on Saturday, I got a phone call from a guy who I essentially wrote off. Like, he ghosted Eric and I. Like, I mean, I would text him, I would call him after the proposal, and just ignoring me, right? And he called on Saturday. He's like, hey, I just want to touch base with you. Like, I want to revisit that proposal. I was like, holy shit,
And I had
So
the exact same thing on Thursday. I had a guy that I got approved in January that called me back and said, "Hey, I'm ready to do it."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We just don't know. I mean, we just got to stick and stay and like keep in them,
The
Yes,
best
sir.
thing about that, Jacob, I'm so happy for you, brother, and your success. Thank you for sharing. The best thing about this business is that 9 times out of 10, ladies and gentlemen, they are the first person they ever spoke to about solar. So if it's not now, it's going to be later on. But you have to have something in place where
Right.
you follow up with them, everyone. You have to have something in place. Look, most CRMs that automatically follow up for your customers for you, if you enter their name and address and put them in a certain column into this software, is about 99 bucks a month. Now, if you don't want to pay that because maybe your funds aren't where they need to be, that's understandable. But have something in place, even if it's paper and pen, and your paper and pen to paper, you're writing down, hey, this is my list of customers that said not interested right now. Because if you can all agree that 90% of our customers, when we present, they aren't saying no. They don't say no, I don't want solar. They don't say this doesn't make sense. They don't say that. They may not be ready to make a big decision right away. There's nothing wrong with that. I've learned to respect their decision and move on to the next customer. Move on to the next customer, but keep them in a follow-up. You know, you know what, Houston, next week and team, I'm going to be doing a training on follow-up. That's going to be pretty great. But have something in place to where when your customers say not right now, even if they don't want a presentation right now, put them on a list where you can follow up with them once a month. As solar gets more popular, they're going to come back to the idea of solar, and you are the one that should get that deal. Don't lose these deals just because you're not willing to pick up the phone or send a text message or even an email that just says, hey, I want you to know things are going great. I'm doing great. I have a lot of new customers. Whenever you're ready to go solar, I'm here for you. Just checking in every now and then. There's no other business that will pay you for follow-ups like solar. That's all I wanted to say, but great job, Jacob.
100%, man. I agree with everything you guys both said. So anybody else got anything they want to shout out before we move on? All right, well, let's get into a couple important power updates. So number one, this is something that they pointed out to us on the mentor call on Monday. The Earth Month promo ended on April 30th, but they're going to leave that promo as an option on any proposals that were done on or before the 30th of the month. So if you have a customer that was on the fence, didn't pull the trigger in time, you still have time. So going back to that follow-up, use that as an opportunity to follow up and say, hey, Mr. Customer, I have great news. Because you were presented this option earlier in the week or last week, we're extending it just for you as a one-time additional option if you're ready to go now. So make sure you're using that to your advantage. Leverage it as much as you can to try and maybe reel in one of those deals that was still kind of on the fence. So keep that in mind. Now, if you request a proposal revision, it will not show up. It's only on proposals that were created on or before the 30th. So make sure you're going back and you're using that original proposal if you've got any of those scenarios. Next, I mentioned this on last week's call, but just wanted to follow up on it again. A new adder was recently placed in Solo for HVAC. It's only available with GoodLeap and cash deals, but similar to the way we used to pay roofing, it's essentially a rebate to the customer for an HVAC system. So if you've got any consultants who are also HVAC people, this just became a huge bit of leverage for them. Or if you've got a customer who's really complaining about, you know, I got a small house, but my utility bills are crazy because my AC unit's 15 years old. You can tie in and say, hey, you know what? Why don't we do a combo loan? Let's get you a new AC unit, add in the solar to run that AC unit and really help you save money. So that's a huge incentive. And I think something that I know I personally, I've got an owner of an HVAC company on my team that we've been talking about this a lot over the last week and trying to put together a plan to make this work. So just make sure you know whoever you're working with as far as an HVAC installer, that they understand how the payout works. So the customer will not receive that rebate check until after the solar system is installed. So if you've got an emergency situation where the customer needs HVAC like today, they need to understand that they're going to have to pay for that up front and then get reimbursed when the solar goes on the roof. So keep that in mind when you're presenting this, that you're setting the proper expectations on it. But great news, and I think just another way that Power continues to expand their offering and give us more ways to help our customers save. So next, double check your utility rates in Solo. This is just more of a PSA than anything. I know I posted in the Facebook group last week that the New Braunfels utility, the rate being used to calculate their bill, their current bill in New Braunfels utility, was significantly lower than the rate that I was looking at on an actual utility bill. And so I actually lost a customer because he's like, well, it doesn't make sense for me if I'm paying New Braunfels $110 a month, but I'm paying you $130. Why would I do that? But when I dug into it, I found out that he was actually paying New Braunfels almost $160 because they had changed their rates and it hadn't been updated in Solo. So we've got a lot of companies changing their rates recently. CPS just did it, and I don't know that I've seen that that's updated in Solo yet either. So just make sure you're double checking those rates to check and make sure that the proposal you're showing the customer is the most accurate number. And then next, we've got our next Masterclass Immersive happening tomorrow. This month's subject is going to be mastering your utilities. Pretty cool setup. They're going to have some breakout rooms that are specific to different regions, etc. We're going to have a class on creating content like a warrior, a bill collector blitz with none other than Jim Bunch and Charles Thompson. Local nuances breakout. So that's where we're going to break out. There's actually 20 different mentors in the organization that are going to be running breakout rooms to answer specific questions about various utilities in the area. So I know in Texas, I saw we've got 2 in Spanish, 1 in Austin and 1 up in I believe the Dallas area, and then another 1 in English. So join that. Plus we've also got the CEO Mastermind. Jonathan Budd is always going to bring some great points during that talk at the end of the day. So make sure you don't miss that tomorrow, guys. If you're a Power Live member, this is what you pay for. Don't miss tomorrow's class, because that's where you're really going to take your business to the next level. Speaking of next level, we are quickly approaching Power World. We're only a month and a half away now, guys. July 15th and 16th, we're already in May. It's going to come up real quick. They've announced the rooms. There are still special room rates available. I believe it's $109 a night, which is a great rate for a quality hotel in Dallas. Jump on that. Make sure you reserve those tickets quickly. If you haven't gotten your ticket to the actual event, it's $150 through the end of this month. Jump online, go to powerworld.com. Make sure or is it Powerworld? Is it powerconvention.com? I forget. Eric, do you remember?
Power World Convention?
What was the website? I think it was powerconvention.com.
Website. Oh shoot. I'm having a brain fart. Anybody?
we'll look it up and post it in the chat in just a minute. Double check on that for you guys, but make sure you go in there and take the time to reserve your ticket. This is going to be a huge event, guys. It's going to be the first in-person event that Power's done in the last couple of years. The last online one, they brought together multiple major platform changes, including things like roofing, the enterprise platform, etc. I'm sure they've already hinted. Excuse me. They've already hinted at some major announcements during this one as well, and potentially some announcements that are related to only people that are sitting in the room listening. So make sure you get your ticket and you attend that event. Sorry, allergies for like crazy for a second there. So, all right, tonight's training, I was asked to spend a little bit of time working in solo. For those of you who are already tier 2 and tier 3, building a proposal is really a key component to having a successful presentation and closing a deal. So you want to make sure that you're doing two things. You're building the proposal to offer the best solution to the customer, but at the same time, you're building a proposal that's not going to get you entangled in change orders and issues down the road. So let's flip over, and I've got a proposal that I've opened up here that we're going to spend a little bit of time going over. And what I want to do, I have actually, this is a new proposal that I just put in the other day. I haven't touched it other than adjusting the utility bill so that the graph matches their utility. So I want this to be interactive. Let's spend a little bit of time and walk through with each other how you would build out that proposal. So can anybody tell me once you open a new proposal that you haven't looked at, what's the first thing you typically do when you look at a new proposal? Eric?
Good question. Sorry about that. Got another mentor deal in the
Very nice.
inbox. First thing I look at is the kilowatt usage. I want to make sure that the kilowatt usage on the proposal is going to basically match the numbers on the utility bill as close as possible. Because I know that sometimes these people that are making the proposal, sometimes they get very, very busy and the numbers can be off. So you don't want to put your hands and your money in the hands of anyone else, right? So I do that. I check the kilowatt usage first.
Awesome. Well, I would agree with that because like I said, the only thing that I did to this proposal before I opened it up for tonight's call was to go in here and update the usage to match the bill. So that's something I personally always do. It gives you a more accurate offset, and the graph more accurately reflects the months that they're going to have excess utility bills versus months where they're going to be gaining credits. So agree wholeheartedly with you on that. Somebody else, let's say Jonathan, you available to speak for a second?
Yeah, what's going on? Can you hear me okay?
So after you've updated the utility usage and you've got that matching the utility bill, what's the next thing that you would typically look at on a proposal that you would work on?
Well, first thing I would do is I would check the utilities website to make sure that I'm within their guidelines on what they're going to allow for offset.
Yep.
So there's some utilities here, most like co-ops, they only allow to a certain percentage or only approved. So if they're only going to allow you to get 75%, 80%, then I'm not overselling the product itself. Also, I check their buyback rates to make sure that I'm not oversizing the system. You know, there's no point in getting them to 110% offset if after 100 they're only going to buy it back for 2 cents and sell it to them for 10, right? So
Yep.
that's going to tell me where I need to then map out, if that's a accurate answer for you.
That's perfect. So once you've determined that, so like this one, for example, this is a CPS deal. I'm at 170%, which makes absolutely 0 sense in CPS or really anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So where would you go from here?
First, I would check the proposal as far as the map to make sure I'm on the right house.
Okay,
And then I would check the pitch levels, make sure that they are correctly assessed. Make sure that if there's any tree debris, any shading that's going to factor into any of anything. So we have a 30% tilt. We've got 40% shades on array 1s and 2s. So I'm making sure to see if those trees are still there, checking with the customer. I'll even send them just a screenshot of this piece right here, minus the offset of the numbers. Just say, hey, are those trees still there or not? Or just making sure they're good to go. And that's one thing I would verify too. So if there is no trees, I'm correcting the proposal, take the shade off, give them
Gotcha.
a better assessment.
okay. Once you've done that, and you've made that, so let's say all this is accurate. Where are you going from here?
Well, I'm picking out my equipment next.
Okay, so let's do that. So obviously, right now we're a little limited in equipment.
Yep.
Let's say just for the example's sake here,
Sure.
this customer's primary motivation is savings. So they're not focused on necessarily the highest quality product. They don't really care whether it's micro inverters or otherwise. So which products would you be selecting there?
You're tugging on my strings there. I'm a sole believer in Enphase, even if they don't want it. I prefer service over cost. I like to sleep at night. So I still would do Enphase. I still believe Enphase, and I'm going with the M's. Battery or no battery?
No battery.
Okay, just the M's.
Okay. Would we stick with Mission Solars or go with the Canadian?
Oh yeah. No, I'm sticking with Mission. Every other company, if they're getting bids, they're going to get them at least a 400 watt panel. So I don't want to be going back and changing up equipment and then raising up the price.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we've got our equipment selected. Next step, where would you go from here? Would you go in and adjust your offset, or?
I'm going straight to my adders and then going for the offset. I'll do the offset last. That's the easiest piece. So how old is the house? Just
it's an older home. Let's say 30 years.
All right. So I know I need a new upgraded panel, give or take. I'm gonna do a 2B determined. So just so you know, right there, guys, on that electrical ladder, that drop down, there's 3 options. So just do the TBD, just to, you don't know if it's required or not, because depending on the size of the system, when we're all done, it's going to determine if we need 200 amp or not. So you don't want to say it is required and then they take it out there and you could have saved some cost there. But I'm doing a main panel upgrade.
And just as a side note on that, if you guys, so just so you guys are aware of the difference between to be determined and required. If I put required, they are doing a main panel upgrade, whether the house needs it or not. Period. End of story. They're going to go and they're going to charge you for that. If you put to be determined and the site survey figures out that they didn't need that main panel upgrade, they remove that adder and take that margin and put it directly to our margin on the bottom line. So that's essentially a $2,300 cushion to pay for any potential electrical adders that maybe you forgot or missed. So really a key point to note there is, if you haven't physically inspected the main panel and verified whether it does or doesn't need it, I personally always include the to be determined.
Yeah, so here in San Antonio, kind of my rule of thumb here is about 10 years on the house. So the house build is 10 years and newer. I'm more than certain there you have a 200 amp panel. So I'm just doing a line side tap.
Okay, that's good to know.
That here. My second one, I'm going straight to the warranty. I'm not doing a proposal without the 30-year. That should be a staple. Fuller and sure. We got 2 arrays, so no multiple array adders. I throw on the attic run because if it's possible from the install, it's just a cleaner install. And then what I like to do is I like to throw on a little bit extra for like electrical, not engineering, what is it, miscellaneous. So sometimes they add breaker kits or maybe they need a sub panel. So I throw on, I used to throw on $200, but now I throw $350. So just in the event that they need to add some additional breakers or there's some additional work, and usually I never get that money back, FYI. So it always comes in hand.
Gotcha.
And outside of that, well, we have to get the so we have to drop our margins tremendously here in San Antonio because we have to be under 4 cents a kilowatt or $4 a kilowatt.
$4 a watt. So
Yeah.
what I would typically say on that, so let's go ahead and just update that for now. So we've got our base electrical adders and stuff. Next thing we probably need to do is adjust our offset, right? So we're gonna mess with our offset. That's typically my next step is I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna adjust my offset. So couple things to keep in mind, and this kind of goes back to Jonathan's point earlier about the different utilities. You need to know any specific requirements that the utility companies have as far as, you know, things like their rebates or something like that. So I can tell you CPS will not pay a rebate if you have too many of the panels on the north facing roof. New Braunfels utility has a very specific azimuth where you have to be in between in order to qualify for the rebates. So make sure you're paying attention to that in order to get the proper expectation for your customers. So right now I've got a bunch of panels here on the north facing roof. So let's remove these. As I'm doing this, I've got kind of a side question for some of the mentors here. Given the shading, let's just say, for example, that we verified with the customer that these trees are still here and they're not necessarily super excited about trimming them. How would you adjust your proposal for that?
I know myself, Houston, I would just be setting the expectation with the customer what can happen if we put the panels on the back. Obviously stating that, you know what, you probably are not going to get the CPS rebate for $2,500 unless you're looking to trim your trees. Yeah, I don't mind trimming my trees. Okay, great, because if we can trim your trees, then we can put them on the front of the house where you're going to get the most sunlight anyway. Or if they're like, you know, if they say, you know, no, I don't want to trim my trees, then, you know, it is what it is. You know, I mean, they're not going to receive 100% offset with that shading or 90% offset with that shading. So I don't know. I like to put everything up front because they don't get that rebate and you said they would, then they're talking bad about you everywhere. So
I go straight to the cost. One panel on the south side of your roof is equivalent to 2 to 3 panels on the north side. So how much money are you really saving? It's going to cost you. You can go hire some young kids to do it for under $500, trim those trees. I assume that many trees, right? We're not talking about just one little light tree there. It looks like there's 2, maybe 3 huge trees there. So, I mean, trim it down there. I mean, the cost that you're going to save, like I said, you know, 1 panel to 3 panels on the north roof, you're losing more than 40% production off each panel. So if it's a money thing, not just a aesthetic thing, you, like you said, leave that out there for them to make that decision as well too.
Gotcha. So in this particular scenario, let's say we did convince them to trim some trees. Would you then request a proposal revision to adjust the shading, or would you just remove a few panels to compensate for that?
I'm getting a revision right away. Right away.
Okay. So let's just assume that this is the build-up. This is where it is. We're at 94%. Is that usually where you guys would sell it in CPS? I know most people try and stay somewhere, you know, between 70 and 100. What do you guys typically do there?
I favor between 96 and 98. To be honest.
So in this case, I think going 96 or 98, we would be adding a third array. So we'll just keep it like this at 94.
Yeah, I think we'll be good because this is still factoring in shading, so we would already be there.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be well over, in fact. So looking now at our production versus usage. So outside of these winter months where they're cranking the heater all day long and solar system can't really keep up. We're really in pretty good shape. So let's check where I'm at pricing wise. Here's the kicker. With the stuff that we've added in, we're at $4.59 a watt. I'm going to go down. Next step that I'm going to take a look at is going to be my loan options. So this customer's current bill is $143 a month. And with the regular $199, right now I'm at $218. So I'm way over where I need to be. Let's take a look at our adders again. And there's our problem right there. So let's go. Let's see what that does. All right, so that puts me at 392. So I'm under the $4 a watt criteria for CPS. I've still got about a $9,000 margin in there. So I'm in pretty decent shape, right? What else would you guys do? Anything else that you guys would mess with to try and make this a better looking deal for the customer? Maybe adjust your loan products?
Yeah. I also do the same thing. I adjust my margin. In the CPS energy market, I'm probably starting at a 2.9 or a 3.9. Depending on what it looks like. Like, so let's say we go to 3.9.
Would you go with the traditional or the flex pay?
The traditional.
Okay.
And then what's their bill now?
We're at 195 versus 143.
We have a pretty big difference here.
So let's go back to our adders, figure out where we're off here. So I know the to be determined is going to be part of that. What else would you guys adjust? Would you just go down further on your margin?
Yeah, I'd probably go down a little bit more on the margin. For me personally, if I'm happy making $3,000, $3,500 on a deal. That's just me. Obviously I want more, but if it means showing more savings and beating the competition, then I'm doing that. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say.
Is the price per kilowatt accurate?
So yeah, I think where
I saw
this
11.
one, and this, you know,
I
I
think I
should
saw
have
11
paid a
cents.
little bit closer attention to this, but where this one is becoming a really bad value is that both of these arrays are getting a 40% shading hit. So that's where the problem is. So I think in order for this to be a cost-effective thing for the customer, we would need to request a revision and then maybe come in here and add a little bit for tree trimming, you know, in order to get this customer. So let's say $800 back for tree trimming, but then remove some of these panels once we've changed the shading. So,
Can I take a look at their kilowatt usage? Can you show me the kilowatt usage, the bars? Yeah, that's another thing. This usage is all out of whack too. Like they have 7 kilowatts and 10, 12, 20, 13, 10. So for me, I would be building probably about maybe a 12 kilowatt system. Yeah, probably a smaller system. I think that's where the discrepancy is as far as the savings go, and because they're not using 14 to 15 kilowatts every month. It's they have a pretty staggered usage, but I think 12 kilowatts would kind of help out majority of the months. That's what I would do.
This is 11.2, and I've removed the bottom layer of panels on both sides, which obviously doesn't change the calculation from the shading perspective, but just knowing that I've moved a few of the most shaded panels out off the proposal, I can expect that that's probably going to give me back to, you know, about a 30% shading without moving these trees. So at 11.2 kilowatts, it's showing a 70% offset. Once we adjust that shading, I think we're probably closer to 80 or so.
Correct. Yeah, that I would be discussing with my customer their kilowatt usage. I would tell them, look, every month is not 14, 15 kilowatts. And, you know, that's almost, you know, 90-something% offset. But in reality, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, look at your months of usage. You're really not using that all the time. Look at April, look at May, June, October, November, December. You're well underneath 11 kilowatts. You know what I mean? And that's what I would be explaining.
I agree wholeheartedly. You know, I think outside of these couple winter months where that heater is just soaking up the bill, this is a system that's pretty much going to do what they needed to do. You know, most months they're going to have a very minimal CPS bill, if any. You know, a couple months here where it's actually showing some credits. But in terms of bang for their buck, this is really going to be the best option for them. And now we're in the right ballpark in terms of financing. So let's see where we're at in terms of, I'm still good on price per watt.
You could try a different loan product if you want, maybe the FlexPay.
So typically, the only challenge with the FlexPay is typically the FlexPay has about a 1 or 2% higher dealer fee than the traditional. So in this scenario, I'm looking for the lowest possible dealer fee. Recently, I've been using Mosaic for some of their longer term because their dealer fees are very, very reasonable. So if I go to the 25-year with Mosaic, see that payment's $4 cheaper than it was with Goodlead, with basically the same terms, 25-year $399. I'm at a 15% dealer fee. So I'm in a little bit better shape there. Let's try $299. $20 dealer fee. I've got a $367 per watt, and my payment's at $135, $149 for the first 18 months. What do you guys think? How does this look? Anything else we can do to make this a little bit more attractive to the customer other than request that revision to remove the shading?
And this is on Mission Solar, right?
Correct. So that would be the next option would be to try and switch over to the Canadians.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a slightly smaller panel. So our offset's going to go down a little bit.
Yeah.
We lose about 3% offset. But my payment went down quite a bit. It went down, what, $12.
Yeah, I think that's real attractive right there.
The only other thing, and I know Jonathan said he's diehard Enphase. The one thing that I'll tell you that I've been doing recently in scenarios like this where to make it make financial sense, I needed to do something different. The only challenge with only having the IQ8s is that they're still a little bit more expensive than the IQ7s were. So you're adding $2 or $3 grand to your overall total here, which is about $10 a month. But if I were to switch over and hold on, let's see what system side.
While you're setting that up, using so let me counter why against SolarEdge. I have SolarEdge on my own house. Okay.
Yeah.
I was with Power when we didn't have Enphase. So when it comes to the user friendly of the app itself, so let me tell you something between the SolarEdge app and between the Enphase app. So if your system goes down, the SolarEdge app does not send you a notification that the system's down. It doesn't have a warning. Enphase does. So say that something goes down, you don't know for SolarEdge unless you actually check the app. Enphase, if one panel is misaligned, you get an alert. It says, hey,
Yeah.
One of your 40 panels or one of your 27 in this particular store, 70, how many panels? 27 are down. You know, please contact whatever. It lets you know automatically. So I've had customers with SolarEdge where they didn't know, as say one customer had an issue where the system went down for a month and a half, but they didn't know until they saw their bill.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's my conflict with savings. It may be a savings of $8 a month on their bill, but that month and a half can rank up to $300. Without that, just that little bit of notification where we can get someone out there. So it goes back to that peace of mind. Like most customers, I think you can agree, are not going to really penny pinch over $2 or $3.
Yeah.
Especially when they have a reliability and you are confident in selling that product, especially knowing that I had it, because that happened to me. So,
So just a question on your system. Does your system have the optimizers on it?
Yep.
It does? Okay.
Yep. I got the 10,000 SU or US. I forgot that. Which one is it? Yep.
This is the same one I've got on here, the SE 10,000.
Yep. That's my inverter.
Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know that. I thought that would still send them a notification the same way. So that's definitely something to consider. And if nothing else, just present it to the customer as an option. And just say, hey, Mr. Customer, I can do this inverter. It's a little bit cheaper, but for the extra peace of mind, which is really what we're talking about here, I would highly recommend the Enphase.
Yep.
So if we were to go Solar Edge, we're down to 350 payments at 123 versus a 143, with most months being pretty much even money or a very minimal bill. Tim, do you have something?
Oh, no, sorry. Pocket muted there. Sorry.
No worries, man. What else? Anybody else got anything else they want to add as we're building this out? Eric, if you're talking, you're not talking to us.
Thanks, man. We may have one more teammate joining the Zoom here in a little bit, and they're going to share their current proposal so we can help them with it. So
Awesome.
just saying, be on in a minute.
Cool. Well, with that, guys, that's pretty much all I had in terms of the training for the night. So does anybody have anything that they want to bring up? Any topics of conversation until we get the other teammate on the line?
I got one, if you don't mind, just real quick, Houston. It won't take long. So any consultants that sell in the AEP market here in Texas, so that's South Texas, Houston does have some AEP areas, even some in North. So AEP is also offering, we are not a certified installer yet, but AEP offers a similar rebate that CPS does, a $3,000 rebate. So I've already reached out to pre-sales. They're in the application process to get on board on that. So as soon as they get approved, we'll be able to offer a rebate in those markets, just as in San Antonio. And to my knowledge, yet they don't have a PPW requirement yet. So that would give us opportunity to get a little bit more back for our buck, I guess you could say.
Awesome. Good to know, man. Thank you.
No problem.
I have a quick question, since we have a quick minute. Has anybody experienced this when submitting an application on with GoodLeap? Actually, I'm getting an error, and then at the bottom, right underneath the error in red, it says entity not found. I reached out to chat, send over an email to finance at Power, all this good stuff, but has anybody had that scenario pop up?
Yes. Usually when the my two errors were when the proposal was expired after 30 days. That's usually the error that happens. So I don't know if that's your case there, Jacob, but that's usually the error. So what happens usually is that I'll request a new proposal. Have you tried to rerun it on a new proposal yet? Like a revision request, and still the same error?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I just do is I have finance email them a application. And, and directly? You just push them, directly, and they can run it themselves, put in their own info, and done deal.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Well, hopefully that's what they do.
Yeah,
stuff.
either that. Thanks,
or
particularly if you're working with GoodLeap, you can go into knowledge base, and in knowledge base, there's a page there with a link to all of the various proposals from Goodleap. So that you can just send the customer the link and have them apply there.
All right, cool.
Like here, let me show you real
I mean,
quick.
if you're already emailing finance, just tell them. Just tell them, hey, here's the product. I'm getting Eric. Can you please send the link to my customer?
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
Houston, we have Mr. Casey Towns on the phone, on the Zoom, a teammate of ours. Matter of fact, he's like, I think, Casey, you're about 3 or 4 deals away from being a mentor. Is that right? I can't hear you.
I can't hear you, Casey.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
There we go.
All right, cool. I forgot my floating mic wasn't on. Yeah, I don't know, Eric. I just put in the work, man. I just keep exposing and let good things happen. That's just the way I do it. So I just was able to overcome a couple of things. And I have a neighbor who just sent an ambassador of mine his bill. I'm pulling it up. Obviously, I'm walking and chewing gum. Sent his bill, and we've got it loaded. And I think Eric wanted to review it with me on the call and on the webinar tonight for everybody's benefit. Am I spot on, Eric?
Yes, I think Houston can give you sharing capabilities, Casey, if you can share your screen with us.
Yes,
Yep,
sir.
I've already opened that up, so you should be able to, down at the bottom, hit share screen.
Yeah, I do this for a living, so I could I do this in my sleep. Good stuff, man. I appreciate you. All right, let me see. I'm just trying to open up the link. Okay, power. Okay, there we go. Everybody on with me? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you opening up that link for me. Good stuff. Let's view proposal. Oh, wait. We got the proposal. Wait. We don't need to keep viewing it. Give me one moment. Let me change what I share. Here we go. System's moving sideways tonight. Okay, here we go. Can you guys see that? Is it up?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I got my neighbor over here in Cibolo, and here we go. So here's the raw look at his home and us putting 3,400,000 solar panels on, so we give him 600% offset. Oh man, that's
Buying Bitcoin or something.
yeah, that's just a dream. But anyway, so Eric, what are we gonna do? We're gonna take it from minute one. Is it gonna be a learning experience for everybody? What do you want to do?
Go ahead and ask us what you want to know, my brother, and we'll all help you.
Okay, well, you and I kind of cheated today. Okay, so we'll go step by step. Okay, we know that this is the breakdown for the last 50 years over here. Okay, so let's take a look at his, did I show his bill? No, I did not. Okay. All right, so his energy bill was 100, I think it was 100, it wasn't 139.
Casey, let's back up 1 second real quick. I have a couple questions for you. So number one,
Come on.
the graph that we're looking at there,
Yep,
go down a little bit.
yep, there we go.
Yep. Have you already gone in and matched that graph to his utility bill?
I have not. I just got the proposal just a little while ago, but I was training on another link, so
Gotcha.
haven't done any of that.
So this is essentially exactly what we just kind of walked through, but we all agreed that step one is click on that graph
Right.
and update those figures to match his actual utility bill. That way we're comparing a true offset.
Okay, let me ask a quick question of the team. Okay, so he's got 8 months in the house, maybe not, I don't know, but since September, brand new house, just moved in September. So do you actually put zeros down for those months or no? You put estimated values?
No, estimated values. Yeah, you want to have production of some sort in those months. Typically, you can look at the curve and make a pretty accurate assessment based off of the time of the year. How much those are going to be.
Cool. Cool.
So for time's sake, we can jump back and do this in a minute, but just know that typically that's our first step, is to go in and update and match the graph on the utility bill to the graph that you're seeing on the proposal.
Okay.
So,
Give me one moment, guys. Give me one moment. I'm taking notes. I'm actually taking notes. I don't know how many people are note takers, but I am.
And just to confirm, Casey, this is in the CPS, right? CPS does cover Cibolo as well.
No, it's not CPS, it's GVEC, Guadalupe Valley.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. Oh, 1 for 1.
You could say nice. I don't.
To an extent.
Okay, so match the bill kilowatt hours to the graph. Okay, we got it. I'm ready.
all right. So for the time being, just go ahead and hit cancel on that.
Right. Got
You
you.
can go back and do that in a minute.
Come on. Okay, there we go. Okay, got it.
So the next thing we're gonna do is what do we agree? Go to the adders and build out our adders next?
Hang on one second. I'm putting down. I'm gonna put a note. You said you guys put an estimate for the months of non-usage where you didn't live there. What estimate do you normally put?
It'll be based off of the usage that you do have. So you'll be able to go in. You'll see that.
Okay.
In December he used 1,000 kilowatt hours. In January he used 1,100. So you can kind of see how the bell's working, and just work those numbers accordingly.
Cool. I just didn't know if there was a certain number you guys put. Okay, I'm good. Appreciate it. Okay, so now what's your step 2 that you guys covered that I've missed?
So next step, we agreed go to our adders, right? Build out our adders.
Right.
Matters, right? If they need an MPU. Casey, do you know if this is in your neighborhood, correct?
Yeah, he's about 2 blocks from me.
Do you think they have a 200 amp?
He does. They're all new
Okay.
houses.
These
the
are all
houses
brand new
too.
homes, so yeah, he should have a 200.
Yeah.
So you don't need that. I guess click on extended warranty and how much margin you want to make on the bottom of the adders.
Okay, so electrical adders, is that where we're going?
Nope. No, so normally, if it's an older house or something, you probably want to put the to be determined main panel, but if it's a brand new house, you should have the 200.
Okay. So where are you guys going after this?
Let's scroll down.
Right.
We're always going to put the extended warranty. So go back up a little bit
There we go.
and hit that drop down and change it to the 30-year.
30. Right. Got it.
Then go down to margin all the way at the bottom. And normally, so yeah, you have all those panels up there.
Right.
Push cancel.
Or no, click update, because otherwise it'll remove the warranty.
update.
So
Yeah, I gotta
hit
update.
update.
Right. What I changed. Gotta update it.
Yeah, the margin is typically the last thing that I adjust. I'll get everything else built out the way that I want it, and then I'll adjust my margin to match where I need to be as price wise.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so we need to adjust the offset in the panels on the roof, right?
So before we do that, let's change our equipment. So go there on the right, let's go to equipment. Do we want to stick with the missions, or do we want to switch to the Canadians? The Canadians are going to be a little bit cheaper per watt.
I'm going to tell you my main concern right now. The jobs that I've had have taken forever. Okay, so is there the difference? Is it going to be a time difference, or is it strictly money difference? Because it's hard to keep a client when they're waiting 3 months for an install.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a lot of motivational speaking for 90 days waiting.
I hear you. There shouldn't be any difference, because both of those are panels that we have in stock. So the only difference would be your cost per watt. So right now you've got the missions at 68. If you click that drop down, you'll be able to see your other options. So your other option, it's a smaller panel to 395. It's still black on black, but it's going to be at 57 cents per watt. So 11 cents cheaper per watt. And then inverters,
If
we
we
all kind
have
of
them
agree.
both, if we have them both, then let's rock with the cheaper panel for right now.
Yep.
He doesn't pay a whole lot in his bill. He's not one of these $400 bill guys. So let's just rock with the smaller panel.
Gotcha. And then I would go to inverters, and depending on what your option is there, we all kind of agreed. And Jonathan gave some testimony as to why we all prefer the in-phase inverters. The only thing to understand there is that they are a little bit more pricey. So they'll be all the way up at the top. And for the Canadians, you'll probably want to use the IQ8Ms.
The 8Ms or the 8A?
Yep, the 8Ms.
Okay. So quick question for you. Okay. The other inverters, you guys probably talked all this. I apologize for being late. I had a conference call. I apologize, guys. But I just want to know, what was the ideology other than what we've been told on calls? What's the ideology behind not going with solar edge inverters?
So the key difference there, Jonathan, I'll let you take this because I know you already gave us the spiel once.
So aside from the difference of a microinverter versus a standalone PV inverter is the alert of the failure. Okay, so one, if something does go wrong, right? Because customers, when it comes to electrical products, anything you buy, what if this happens? What if that happens? Perfect. Well, if solar edge goes down, your entire system goes down. Someone goes and turns that on switch to off, the whole system goes down. Also, Solar Edge app does not send an alert to let you know the system is down. You'd have to constantly be monitoring your app to make sure it's still producing. Enphase does have that technology built in to where one out of your 30 or 40 something panels goes down, you get an alert immediately on your phone, you get an email sent, and that way you're notified immediately. You can put in a ticket in, as you say, or a service order to have someone go check it out. And while it's still down, you still have 39 panels out of 40 still operating at full functionality. Also, and I'm sure, I know Tony's also been a solar expert on this too, that he can attest that Enphase is probably a little bit more backwards compatible with more options if they decide to add further batteries down the road, or if they add, it's more compatible technology wise, where Solar Edge, if you want a battery, you'd have to change out the whole inverter and put on an energy hub. Okay. So you basically, if he says, man, you know what, Casey, in 3 years, I want to do batteries. Can you do that? Maybe you can at that time. You'd have to swap out your standard Solar Edge inverter and a whole new energy hub. So it's more functionality. It's more reliable, in my opinion. Enphase customer service is also a little bit more quicker to answer their phone. I will say that too. So probably go from 20 minutes with Enphase to 3.5 hours minimal with Solar Edge. So
once you said the difference was, I knew about I have Enphase on my home. That's what I chose.
There you go.
Because of those reasons, but I'm not familiar with the logistics of the other inverter. So once you said that, it doesn't have that same technology where if one goes down and blows out the whole system. Once you said that, I'm good. But everything else was valuable. Hey man, appreciate y'all. Yeah. Good stuff.
One thing I do recommend though, if anyone does ground mounts, Solar Edge might be a better product for just production. Okay. So if you do a ground mount, they do tend to produce a little bit more better on the ground with Solar Edge, just FYI. All right.
Good to know. Good stuff, man. Appreciate y'all, man. This is good. Let me update, okay? Because we're going to rock with the Enphase and the Canadian Solar.
Perfect.
Good stuff. Excellent, guys. Definitely teamwork, making this dream work. Good stuff.
Let's go ahead and go to our map.
Where we going?
Let's go to where it says your solar design and you got the map. Go down there and click on edit.
Okay. We're gonna edit, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, unless we're gonna keep 3 million panels and 170% offset. Cool. All right.
So right now we got panels on 3 sides of the roof. Which ones are we removing first?
Well, everybody on that block who has solar panels have their panels in the back. Everybody.
Okay.
So, you know, for me, I'm gonna remove as much in the front as I can, okay? To give it a cleaner look up front. It's kind of, his house is kind of tall. It's kind of hard to see once you get past about this point right here, this middle point. It's almost impossible to see his roof. But up front you can. So let's go ahead and let's get some of this out of here. I appreciate you guys, man. I know you're going back over stuff you went over, and I'm appreciative. I don't have to pay you nothing like that, do I?
No, sir. All right, time out.
Talk
Before
to
you
me.
start removing panels from that southwestern side of the roof,
I see it's
What's
the
the-
lit side.
let's get rid of everything that's on that northern side of the roof before you start messing with the stuff on the south.
Okay, we can do that. Cool.
Because from a production and efficiency standpoint, you're going to get a lot more production out of those south facing panels than you will the north. And looking at that offset, we should still be able to remove a couple of those panels from the front side of that southwest roof.
I guess we're at 108. Okay, cool. Very good point. Very good point.
Hey, Casey, while we're removing panels, does this customer plan to do any additions down the line the next couple years,
No
electrical
pools,
wise?
no pools, no nothing, unless he has changed his mind in the last month. No pools, no nothing.
Well, time out, because now I haven't done a whole lot in the GVC region, so maybe you guys who have more experience in there and know their utility a little bit better. Where would you typically try and set that offset in that territory?
I was actually going to put one back up around 81%.
Okay.
81%. Yeah, about right there. It's about the same as mine.
In the chat, Tony says, click on your panel arrays up there on the top left-hand corner. We just want to double check our shading. So yeah, this is a new house with pretty much wide open roof. We always want to check and make sure that there wasn't a mistake made on the shading. Had that happen before where it was a perfectly sunny roof, but they had a 30% shade in there. So you always want to double check that to make sure that you're not over or undersizing the system.
One
Okay.
thing, if I can add on that too, is if you guys always check that, that's how you also can pick up your price per watt. Because if you do see, like Houston mentioned, like 30%, and then on the other side, it's like 5 or 3%. If you move those panels over to that side, you'll increase your production, and also you can pick up the price per watt because you're increasing the production of the system.
Yep, very, very smart.
Good stuff.
All right, so 82%, about where we think we need to be. So let's save that.
You know what? Wait a minute, guys. Yeah. Okay, let's go with 82%. Let's see where we're at. Let's just see where we're at. Okay, let me save it.
All right, so let's go next to let's go loan options. So what's his objective? Have you talked to him at all about the loan and kind of the long-term aspect of solar?
No, we really haven't talked a lot about. I talked to this guy like 6 months ago when he first moved in, about 5 months ago after that, 4 months ago, and then he went stealth. And he just came out of the clear blue sky and said, "Hey man, I see you got solar on your house, blah, blah, blah." And I told him, yeah, my bill's down to $45 and it keeps declining every month. And of course he said, okay, I'm gonna get you my bill. And he came out of nowhere and just gave me this bill. And he said, how soon can you give me a proposal or an estimate? That's the talk we had. And then he asked, how do most people pay? And I told him, well, most people do get a loan. I said, but you can pay in cash if that's how you like to pay. So that was our talk. We had a lot of other neighbors around, and he was kind of giving me the signal, like, don't put my business out in the street. So, you know, I was cool about it.
I got you. Okay. So a few ways you can go about it in terms of the loan, and a lot of it's going to depend on how that conversation went. Because, you know, if I've got a customer who's looking to pay the system off within 5 or 10 years,
Mhm.
I'm going to offer him a very different loan product than if I've got a customer that's just motivated by lowest monthly payment. And so that would be something that I would tell you would be kind of the next step in the process, would be to figure out which one of those two he is. And then in terms of the loan options, make some adjustments there. So if he's motivated by lowest monthly payment, maybe you try and go with the Good Lead Flex Pay. You know, give him 18 months of super low payments and then 25 years of low payments. Alternatively, if I've got someone who's planning to pay it off in 5 years, or somebody who's kind of hinting at, well, I may end up just paying, you know, I may pay cash or I may pay it off super early. I'm not necessarily going to offer them that higher dealer fee, lower interest rate loan.
Mhm.
I may offer him something like maybe the Sunlight 12-year 574, or I know one that I've started using just recently because it's pretty solid is the Mosaic 25-year 6.29 that only has a 3% dealer fee.
Hang on one second. Mosaic.
Yep. Mosaic has a 25-year 6.29 loan. So if you look under Mosaic, any of the ones that say 6.29 rate, they're 3% dealer fee. So all the way out to 25 years. So you can do a 25-year 3% dealer fee, give customers a lower required monthly payment, but give them the ability to pay it off sooner without having a higher principal balance.
Got it. Good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I'm gonna actually give him a call later on tonight, and I'm gonna ask that. That's an intelligent question in terms of what his goal is, because he did bring up payment. You know, what's the most popular way people pay for these? So I'm gonna ask him what's his goal.
The way I typically word that question is,
Talk to
and
him.
maybe it's usually kind of a secondary question, but Mr. Customer, is your motivation saving as much long-term money as possible? Or is your motivation saving as much monthly money as possible? Because long-term money means higher interest rate, lower dealer fee, right?
Right.
Monthly payment motivation means longer term, higher dealer fee, but lower interest rate.
Good stuff, guys. Great.
Hey, KC, Kate, do you mind showing us the bill real quick, if that's all right?
Yeah,
I'd like to see the bill, make
I
sure
ain't
they.
paying the bill, so I mean, yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, it's cool. Hang on one second.
Also, KC, on the chat, I put in the interconnection agreement with JVEC. So if you want to look that over, while y'all were talking, I Googled it real quick just to see what the buyback rates are over production, all that good stuff. So it's always good to just check the utility stuff. So if you want to copy that link, but yeah, go for it.
Give me one moment. I guess the older I get, it's harder to walk and chew gum, man. I'm with you. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up the bill. Can you see that?
Can you zoom in real quick?
I'm gonna do my best.
Very good. I just want to see if they calculated the price per watt, or I'm sorry, the kilowatt hours correctly, because I think it shows at 9 cents. Just want to see the total bill. It's close. I can see it. So there's a delivery charge for that. 7 cents, 7.9. So they're pretty close. You can even say 10 cents actually. The miscellaneous fees, delivery fees, service charge, $25. See, they didn't calculate for that. So I would even round it up 10 cents.
Okay.
Just want to make sure Solo read it correctly. That's all.
No, I appreciate it, man. I mean, hey,
yeah.
Like I said, I know you guys went through this already. I appreciate the team coming together on my behalf. Do you need to see anything else?
Well, does it have the monthly chart on this website or no? I didn't. I'm not even on the bill. It's right there, just so the. Wow.
That's actually pretty cool because it tells you the actual kilowatt hours.
Yeah. Yes, you can plug and play exactly. You're not playing a guessing game on a chart, or graph, I should say. So yeah, you got them right there. And what I would do, Casey, for September, September is one of your prime months, you know, June, July, August. So I would stay within maybe no more than 200 kilowatts plus or minus for August, July, and June when I'm doing my estimate.
Okay.
Probably even spiking, and I would probably go 250 higher in August and July, and then 200 less in June, because those are your prime months out of the year.
Yeah,
your 4 key
my
ones.
experience actually, Jonathan, has been that August and September are usually the two highest months. I would probably say put August right around the same, maybe slightly higher than September. July a little bit lower, maybe more like October number. Although that looks like he may have moved in less than a full month in September. So you may want to even bump September up a little bit.
Right.
Because it's pretty rare that October is higher than September.
Yeah.
So I would probably say bump September up to, if I'm reading that right, maybe like 17 or 1800 in terms of your projection. August around that same 16, 1700. And then July about the same as October, and then June about the same as November.
Well, food for thought.
June
So
a
this
little
is something
higher.
that cross. Casey, is this guy really like meticulous? Like he knows the ins and outs of his bill, or he just pays it? Just question.
I don't know enough to know enough, man, because like I said, without BSing, we lost contact. He went in the witness protection program for 3 months.
Damn, I just watched Ozark, man. You telling me witness protection here and there? Okay. Yep. CSI. All right. No, the reason why I ask is I've had customers that will in front of me on a presentation, like, actually, well, let me check this, and they have the bill in front of them, and if this one prints out the numbers and then you have it off for some reason. So
yeah, true.
Just to Houston points, like I would take that. I can't tell if that's 1589 or 1599, but 89. Take that additional 200 and add it on the months that he can't see, giving him a true addition. But if he's looking at your proposal and he's looking at his bill at the same time, and he sees 1589, and then you have 1889 on your September months, you don't want to have to like counter explain that in the middle of a presentation.
Yeah,
you just want to say, you know what I mean? Like you're really adding the usage, but you're just adding it on the other months. So take that extra 200 or 300 that Houston was saying to add on September, just divide that out between the August and June ones. Because if he's looking number for number on what he has in front of him on the presentation, you just don't want those numbers to be different, because then now he's gonna, anything you throw something off, he's gonna feel a certain way about it,
Good
No,
call.
I understand. I want as little explanation about changes, unnecessary changes that I got to explain as possible. Even though it makes sense to us, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got you.
This is only in this area. Any other bill, they don't label them out like this perfect. They don't write out, 1/11/27 for February. They put a range on a chart on the left side over by April or somewhere, and you have to, guesstimate it with the ruler or something,
Yeah.
line for line it out.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the few good things about being a GVEC customer, in my opinion.
So I think the last two things you need to do on this would be to go through and transpose this the bill back onto the proposal, and then the final step in the process would be to check your margins and adjust your margin as necessary. Now, one thing I'll tell you, I was working with another consultant who's familiar with the GVEC area, and one thing he mentioned to me is that GVEC actually has their own solar division.
They do.
So you definitely want to be pretty competitive when it comes to setting your margins, so that they don't get that in-house and call your customer and say, hey, this guy's taking your head off. We can do it for this price. Especially if he's your neighbor. So make sure that you're competitive on your margin. May have to be a little bit of a skinny deal in order to just make sure that you're giving them a good deal.
Okay.
Or just add value. Sell on
Yeah.
value.
Sell on the warranty, sell on the fact that if you're buying from GVC, guess what? You just defeated the whole purpose of solar, which is to get away from the utility company, right? You're still married to them. And so do everything you can to separate those two as you possibly can.
Oh
It's
yeah.
the goal.
Good stuff. Okay.
Always sell on value if you can.
Yes,
You
sir.
have to lower.
Does anybody have anything else? Anything they want to add before we end the call? I know we're a little bit over.
No, this is a good training. I wish there was more people on here. This is what people are missing.
Well, lucky
So-
for them that it's recorded and it'll be going up on YouTube. So
There you
for
go.
those slackers who are busy doing things like Ryan closing deals, then you can come watch it later.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right,
Great
guys.
stuff.
Well,
Good
with
luck
that,
on
I
this one,
think we're gonna
Casey.
wrap
You
it
got
up.
it, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Before you get away, I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
No problem,
Casey,
Casey.
good luck with this deal. If you need any help with anything, feel free to reach out to any of us. We're all here to help.
Okay.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
man.
Take care. Stay
Gentlemen,
well.
you guys have a good night.
Okay now.
Yes, sir. You too, sir. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.